weeks ago, I got one of those notions, and it was, kind of want to go to the zoo. You know, I just kind of want to go and look at animals and, in my case, take pictures. So I decided to bring the Canon A1, and I brought some FD glass. Of course, I brought my FD 300L because why not? And for film, I decided to go with Ektachrome because it's a really nice slide film and it takes really, really good pictures. The only problem was when I got to the zoo, it was a little on the grey side. And when I mean a little on the grey side, I mean it was probably the greyest day ever. Like, this is Ireland in December we're talking about. It's gonna be grey half the time. There was just no light at all. It was just kind of awful looking. And that's a bit of a problem when you've got an f4 lens and 100 ISO film, and you need to drive that shutter speed in this lens up pretty high to get a sharp picture. You're going to run into problems very, very quickly, particularly with the ISO issue. So I thought, you know how I can fix this? Let's take this Ektachrome film and just sort of push it off a cliff that is 2 stops high. So I set the camera to 400 ISO and head to the zoo to take some pictures. And the images actually came out really nicely. Due to the grayness, there was very little contrast in the scenes anyway. So the increase in contrast from pushing the film 2 stops actually worked out really, really well. It also helped me drive up those shutter speeds when you're shooting longer lenses, you know, 135, 200, 300 mils. You really got to get that shutter speed high to get a nice crisp picture. As for grain, there was barely any grain at all. These had virtually no grain, the same as 100. It was slightly more increased, but you really have to go hunting for it. Like this picture here of the penguin was really, really crisp. And as you can see, the colors came out really nicely. These ones here were underwater shots. There's an underwater viewing area for these seals swimming around. Flamingos, nice pink color. So overall, the color shift, like there was a tiny amount of color shift if you really look for it. But if you look through the rest of these, you know, this one here was shot through glass at a snake enclosure, indoors under really low light. I think this was a half a second or a quarter of a second exposure. I braced the camera up kind of against the wall, and this one turned out exceptionally well, oddly enough. Even this one here of the snake under like red light curled up on the tree branch turned out pretty top. So would I push this film again in a pinch? Absolutely. It actually turned out great. I would easily push this film to 400 ISO, you know, 2 stops. You might be able to get away with 800. I think you'd really be pushing it at that point. Well, hey, but for 2 stops on Ektachrome, it works exceptionally well. Now, I need to try some other slide films. I think Provia can be pushed 2 stops really easy. I think Fuji recommends a 2-stop push at the maximum. So, must try that in the future. Maybe try a bit of Velvia. But as for Ektachrome, plus 2 stops, excellent if you need that little bit of extra, I don't want to say sensitivity increase because you're not increasing sensitivity, but if you need a little bit of extra leeway, or you really do need to shoot at a smaller aperture or higher shutter speed, pushing the Ektachrome 2 stops is a pretty good way to go. So that's it for this video, guys. I'll see you next time.